everyone, and welcome to another high-elo game of Age of Empires. Today, we're less than a week away from finding out which 4 players will get to spend some time in a Spanish castle in October. And while the competition intensifies before our very eyes, we get to sit down and watch MbL playing as the Byzantines in red take on Hera playing as the Mongols in blue. Now, while the players herd their herdables explore their immediate surroundings full of cracked terrain, resources, ostriches, and kind of claustrophobic on the whole, and try to get their butts up to Castle Age ASAP. Not a bad time for us to take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today, because it looks like, based on the minimap and the actual screen right before our very eyes, there is no moss growing under MbL's butt. He is already streaming army across this very short rush distance. So, not a bad time. Let's take a look at the Byzantines, a civilization designed to be as hard as possible to take down. Their buildings get stronger with more HP as the game goes on. They get Town Watch and Town Patrol for free, so they see you coming from a mile away. And once the battle starts, their monks can heal units twice as fast as normal, which does come in handy, since the Byzantines can pump out large quantities of military units with their discounted camels, skirmishers, and spearmen. Now, to support those cheaper units, the Byzantines can actually sprinkle in a few of their unique unit, the Heavy Cavalry Cataphract. This unit excels at slaughtering infantry, since it can be upgraded to not only come with a massive plus 18 attack bonus against infantry, but to also do trample damage. Now, economically, the Byzantines, which have now made it into the rear of the Mongol base, should have lots of resources left to build their army in the late game, since they only pay 2/3 the cost of going up to Imperial. And it looks like Hera might be losing a villager here, and Hera does, in fact, lose a villager to the rear of his base. First kill, first blood drawn by our Byzantine in red. Speaking of the dead Mongol villager, let's take a look at the Mongols, a very fast cavalry-centric civilization that just got its revenge with the poking of the horse's ass. But now, the spearman who got the revenge himself is dead. Okay, things are heating up very nicely so far on this map. A mobile army to the right. Looks like a tower rush on the left. Let me get through those Civ introductions and we'll hop right into the actual casting. The Mongol scout line units do come with extra line of sight. Their cav archers fire faster. Some of their mounted units get progressively more HP as the game goes on, and their unique unit is the fast-firing siege sniping mounted archer murder machine known as the Mangadai. Now, to keep up with their cavalry, like a little brother who you have to take along with you when you go out because your parents kind of yelled at you, well, the Mongols can upgrade their siege units to move 50% faster. Economically, their hunters do work faster than normal, and their houses can be upgraded so that they don't lose population space if they get destroyed. And by the way, faster hunters on this map full of delicious ostrich meat is a pretty good thing. It looks like MbL has lost yet another military unit as Hera's villagers take matters into their own hands. We've got a villager, actually 2 villagers double teaming a spearman here. It looked like one of them was attacking the skirmishers for a second. The tower that MbL placed here has been deleted by the Mongol. He hit Alt F4, closed that tower down. It looks like this one might be next, although is MbL's tower on the high ground? Not too sure, can't really tell behind this one Mongol house, but doesn't really matter. We're still in the Feudal Age. Even though our Mongol is heading up to castle, there is no murder holes just yet, which means this one villager should be nice and safe, and we'll see how quickly this Byzantine tower will fall, especially since we do start the game in Feudal Age in Empire Wars, which means all Byzantine structures come with 20% more HP. So this tower is at 1020 compared to the 850 of the Mongol. A very cool, nifty feature of the Byzantines is that they just become chunkier and chunkier as the game goes on, kind of like in real life. As you get older, as you get stronger, more mature, you kind of get fatter for the most part. Some happiness weight or some unhappiness weight, and then you start working out again, and you don't. But we'll ignore that part of the life equation. At this point, our Byzantine is ahead 5 villagers. Hera is 50 seconds away from castle. MbL still doesn't even have the resources needed to go up to castle. And I like what he's doing here. He's trying with towers and with that initial little bit of Feudal Age push. Because if you noticed, he went full on cheap units. Not only are these traditional trash units, but the Byzantines pay 25% less for their spearman line, their skirmisher line units. And since we're not in Castle Age, can't really talk about camels. Although somebody in my comments did post recently that Hera himself said, if you want to take down the Mongols, go camels. And I don't know if that's true or not. I can't confirm or deny. But if that is the case, that MbL is pretty well placed with the Byzantines to go camels. Unfortunately, there is a bit of a shelf life on the... Well, there's that first stable on the Byzantine camel. Take a look at the top left of your screen. You'll notice the Bloodlines upgrade is X'd out. So they are missing 20 HP. And then they also don't get Blast Furnace. So Castle Age, in the Castle Age, they're decent. Still missing Bloodlines is not great, but decent nonetheless. And now Hera is going to move towards his opponent with Step Lancers. We'll see if they run around these bipedal units. By the way, worth noting, fantastic push here by MbL. It didn't really accomplish very much except killing 2 villagers, which fair enough is a big accomplishment on its own. But he is trying, or rather tried, to lame the stone. He's lamed the primary gold of his opponent. But on Cliffbound, everyone starts with a couple of juicy patches of gold. So if you lame one here, there is another over here. And then there's a whole bunch of neutral stone and gold on the map. This is a very resource-rich map. Unlike the Socotra equivalent that existed before, which if I zoom out, this is basically Socotra except Maze Runner along the edges as opposed to just a coast. Ooh, where the hell was this one villager supposed to be going? Hera gets his first villager kill in a bit of an inexplicable desert death here. What's the line from Casino? A lot of problems buried out in that desert outside of Vegas. But in any event, there's a good amount of resources, cracked terrain. I would be remiss if I didn't remind everyone that any structure whose center point touches this very dry, very thirsty, very arid piece of cracked earth does take 20% more damage. So I don't know if this tower kind of looks like it is built on cracked terrain, so it will take 20% more damage from the battering ram. Hera, for the moment, happy to rest on his 13-3 kill lead. And here come those Byzantine camels at the same time as MbL. Ooh, just engaging a little bit too early. I was going to say at the same time as MbL is going for pikemen. Oh, that is very sour. Loses a spearman for basically nothing. Didn't really have to engage there until he got the pikeman upgrade. So yet another, I believe, a third tower falls for our Byzantine. Fourth one is still up, but not really laming very much at the moment. And it itself is going to get lamed by this big, juicy Mongol castle. So Hera has held. He has 10 more kills. He's still down villagers, but not as bad as before. 51-50 is, I would even hesitate to say down villagers in that case. Neither one has wheelbarrow. Looks like Bosa is the only real advantage here that our Byzantine has over the Mongols, and MbL is housed. I thought we dealt with this. I thought we fixed this. I thought we already got past this. And okay. Right as I say that, 10 extra supply does pop up. So, panic averted. Yours truly got a little bit too excited there. Let that man carrying the giant ball of gold through. And MbL adds 10 more houses. 10 more boarding rooms, 10 more whatever it is. There's a lot of that was a close call there. I don't know who would take that fight. I believe the Step Lancers would get more shots off, but the Camel Rider does come with a +9 attack bonus against cavalry. I was about to say there's a lot of like weird stoner thoughts that come into Age of Empires if you let your mind go down too deep a rabbit hole. Like, how exactly does housing work? You build a house and then what? It has 5 rooms in it, and if you're the Slav, all of a sudden this siege workshop has 5 rooms and this archery range has 5 rooms where your units can sleep. And where do villagers sleep, and when do villagers sleep? Because they seem to me to be quite roided out on Pervitin all the time, because they are not sleeping at all. And the last offensive tower of the Byzantines has fallen. A very literal middle of the road siege workshop here. I don't know what the siege workshop was for. I don't know what the point of that siege workshop was. Did he want to go with a mangonel to contest that one ram that he saw? Neither player really has any siege at the moment. Our Mongol is training a mangonel. Lots and lots of little vision. Oh, speaking of little vision, look at this. Remember, town watch, town patrol for free for the Byzantines. So there is no excuse for MbL not to ring the northern edge of Hera's base with outposts. He has killed 3 villagers to 1 Hera, though, off the back of 1 extra town center. has not only caught up, but now has more villagers than his opponent. 4 more with a 3rd town center as well. Now, in Castle Age, oh no. I'm going to start waxing and philosophical here. Meanwhile, the Mangudai are like, forget philosophy, forget your ivory tower. We are here to kill, kill, kill. And this is exactly why Step Lancers are so dangerous. They rush in, they stack on top of one another, they poke, and then the unit dies, and then they run the hell out. I don't think, still not as fast. Actually, my apologies, actually faster at the moment. I was going to say not as fast as these camels, but no. Hera's got husbandry, and our Byzantine, he does not. I was going to say, the Castle Age is always an interesting question when you're playing against a Byzantine, because they do pay 2/3 of the cost. What is attacking this? Oh, there's this tower here. They do pay 2/3 of the cost of going up to Imperial. So instead of 1,000 food, 800 gold, they pay 667 food and then 533 gold. Which means you never really know when they're going to go up to Imperial Age. Like, look at MbL. Is he going up to Imperial Age right now? He basically he needs 8 more little gold bars. Although he just invested a whole bunch of his gold in camels. So that's what I'm saying. You never really can predict. And so you always have to keep an eye on your opponent and keep an eye on what they're doing. Keep an eye, more importantly, on the score. Because when you see it drop, when you see that they've spent a good number of resources, that should clue you in. MbL loses control of 2 relics, which he got with that early game aggression. Now his Mangudai are trying to find little alleys of attack. Did they or did they not see the camel force? The camels definitely did see them. Yeah. I think he killed the ostrich there. I don't think he may have hit one of the camels, but I don't think he did much damage. And there we go. Our Byzantine is heading up to Imperial. I'm assuming the second he hits Imperial, we are going to get to see the heavy camel rider upgrade being researched. He just needs a bit more food. Oh, I say that immediately. Spends all his food and his gold, does our red Byzantine. And Hera looks like he wants to do a couple of poking and prodding maneuvers to the north, to the south, in the center. A barrage, rather, of rocks from the mangonels. But now it's all kind of coalesced into one big center map island, now parading HP, basically perfect. HP, down about 20%. Mangonels, 7 kills on those mangonels. And so let's see what MbL does with his Imperial Age advantage. Hera doesn't even have a quarter of the resources he needs to go up to the next stage, but he is roiding out his army. He's getting armor for his Step Lancers. He's getting more accurate bows and arrows, or whatever the real life example of what ballistics does to your Mangudai. Okay, they are chasing in. It looks like a battle to the north as well. Some of those camels are going after the mangonels, but the mangonels escape to the safety of the town center. This is not a battle MbL wants to take. You really need to go heavy camels if you want to contest the Mongols. Because you're stuck at 100 HP without bloodlines to 120. Okay, immediately heavy camel, heavy camel. He doesn't have the food for it. He just needs a little bit more food. I think it's what, a 325 food? Yeah, he has it now. Heavy camel, heavy camel, heavy camel. Make it happen, MbL. What is MbL doing? He's going skirmishers. So as I was about to say, because the camel rider comes with 100 HP, I believe the heavy camel rider jumps up to 120. So it doesn't really make up for bloodlines, but it does add another 20 HP for what is on the whole a fairly cheap upgrade. Of all the upgrades in the game, the heavy camel rider is a fairly cheap one for what you get. 20% more HP. Your attack goes from 6 to 7, which is basically almost 20% of an increase in attack. But more importantly, your bonus damage goes from 9 to 18 against cavalry. And right now, it is bonus damage that is relevant as our Byzantine closes in. He's getting chemistry. He's upgrading his skirmishers. The skirmishers completely out of position on the left side. And now the Mangudai take what looks like a little bit of high ground. And I don't think the skirmishers killed a single Mangudai. There's a lot of lost camels here for very few Mongol units. The good news is the Mangudai, Mongol. I mean, it's all such a tongue twister sometimes. The mangonels are gone, which means no real pressure here to destroy any buildings. or to pancake any of these units. Hera, by the way, has expanded even further north, more stables. He's getting thumb ring. He's getting armor for his archer units. He is adding in, or either adding in or has converted a couple of camels. Let's see, are they at 120 or 100? They're at 100. So these are converted camels. Okay, sending a small force of Mangudai to the south to cause a bit of trouble. See what they can do, raiding the Riverlands here to the south. We'll keep an eye on them, see what they can accomplish. Ooh. That looked very promising for a second. It looked like Hera might have lost a monk or two to those skirmishers. But now, all the pressure is on Hera. So, on the whole, despite what I think is a bit of a oversight, not going heavy camels, our Byzantine has built quite an army. I feel like it's about to get taken out. Despite how good and powerful it is. More conversions. Where the hell are these 4 pikemen coming from? What were you on, sabbatical? What were you on, your gap year? They rear end one of these step lancers, but again, these are just pikemen. And the Byzantine army absolutely melts. The attempt to kill some monks with trebuchets does not work out, and now all 3 trebs are going to die. I mean, the last thing you want is a packed up trebuchet against a Mangudai that comes with an attack bonus. Looks like a bunch of villager kills here. We'll have seen all of that in picture. Tell me you've got husbandry. Okay, he does have husbandry, which means he should be able to catch up to these Mangudai, which move as usual for cav archers, 1.54 tiles per second. Okay, so that went absolutely horribly for our Byzantine. His army got wiped off the face of the earth. Luckily for him, Hera is still not an Imperial. If he was, you best believe there would be 3 or 4 trebuchets planting their big old wooden butts right here and shelling away at that army. Hera, for his part, adding more army, going up to Imperial, healing his units, and man, what a great babysitting out of Hera. I've said this many times. He is one of the game's best babysitters when it comes to healing his army up. See, now I thought he would have done the opposite. I thought he would have taken these step lancers, maybe gone here to raid while the monks healed up the Mangudai. And there, finally, is the heavy camel rider upgrade. 20 more HP, extra 1 attack, and the bonuses go up. I believe that's it. I don't think their armor improves. I don't think their movement speed improves. Hera, for his part, look at the minimap, has taken pretty much 40% of the entire map, and oh, he wanted to lure. Did you notice that? He wanted, maybe I'll play that back at the end of the game. He wanted to lure those camels here while the step lancers closed on them from the north. We would have gotten an absolute Byzantine sandwich if MbL fell for it, but great game sense out of our Byzantine, or maybe he just didn't want to engage before he had a heavy camel, which is probably what he should have waited for here with this battle about a few minutes ago. But MbL is down, I mean, he's down almost 100 villagers at this point. A fantastic start, but he has not punished the Mongols. And now Hera's an Imperial, a slew of economic upgrades. He doesn't even need military upgrades at the moment. Converts another camel and then absolutely wrecks the remaining Byzantine army. And that's all she wrote. Wow, what happened there? MbL put on so much fun early game aggression, but then took a few premature fights. Premature e-fightulation here out of our Byzantine. I didn't like that he engaged with the spearmen here before they were pikemen. I don't like that he engaged with camels before they were heavies. And let's see, maybe I'm reading too much into it, into the maneuver here out of our Mongol. Right, so the Mangudai are attacking the camels. In the meantime, the step lancers are coming down. Hera wants to go into this little nook, but I'm curious to see MbL's vision on this beforehand. Oh yeah, he must see. Of course he does. So he knows that the step lancers are heading south. He knows that he knows what Hera wants to do. He knows that Hera wants to sandwich him in there. So fantastic game sense out of MbL. Unfortunately, The economy's not there to support. Even at a 25% discount, your camels are not that cheap that you can support them with 46 villagers. The Mangudai to the south just absolutely wrecking, 23 villager kills to 3. I mean, who's kidding who? Even if you add back those 23 villagers, MbL is at 69. You know what? Add back double that. Add back 46 villagers, and he's still at 92 to Hera's 144. So Hera, knowing that he has the stronger units, and you best believe these are going to be, they're not going to be irregular step lancers for very long. He just doubles down on eco, and he says, you know what? The resources might be not so scarce on this compared to Socotra, so I'm actually going to just build up my big old economy, whereas MbL playing it more of a Socotra style, where not that many resources, or any kind of small, tiny little claustrophobic map where the resources aren't great. But even after 31 minutes, there's still 5,000 stone, 12,000 gold, almost 3,000 food, and a whole bunch of wood still left on the map. But I think the real, I mean, obviously the real issue is the villager count, and he's down 98 villagers. But ignoring the villager count, if you can even do something like that, let's compare just the militaries. MbL just took an absolute atrocious engagement here earlier on with his trebuchets. He maybe should have trained one less treb. Should have gone from 3 to 2 and upgraded the camels. Because again, I don't think the camel upgrade is that expensive. That's my personal opinion. 325 food, 360 gold. Not exactly paladin, more comparable to the cavalier 300 upgrade cost, although a little bit more expensive than that. And again, it roids up your camels with a plus 18 attack bonus against cavalry, which is definitely something you're going to need against that ridiculous step lancer that stacks one behind the other. So you need to kill them as fast as possible, and that's where the attack bonus comes in. But let's take a look at the economies. Let's take a look at all the stats, because I suspect if MbL had maybe 40, 50, 60 more villagers, he could have continued putting on at least some pressure by training more units. But because his economy is so lackluster at the moment compared to the, I mean, look at this mod. This is box art out of the Mongol. Ridiculous. 1, 2, 3, 4 town centers on such a small map. Hera gobbling up the resource. Now remember, none of these structures are doing well. They are all the Leaning Tower of Pisa, because every single one of these structures is going to take 20% more damage when and if it gets attacked, because it's on cracked terrain. But Hera says, you know what, forget that. I'd rather have all the resources. I'd rather go up to 144 villagers, end the game with 5 times more army. And again, MbL, on what little economy he had, was able to train the 3 cheapest units of the Byzantines. He tried to clog the works. He tried to throw as many units as possible at his opponent. Unfortunately, his opponent also went 43, 33, and 7 converted camels were the 3rd most unit that Hera had. Hera with his peak APM, my goodness, 266 at halfway through the game. MbL right towards the end of the game, so he was microing this battle, multiple fronts here, as much as he could. How bad do we think this is going to be? Oh, goodness gracious. 50% bigger economy. And MbL, even though he had more relics at one point than Hera, ends the game with no relics. Hera does take 1 and just holds on to it for a bit longer. And then basically just, yeah, look at these. The stone is more than double. The gold is another 1,600 gold, 3,000 more food, and then 8,000 or so more wood for our Mongol. There's your expansion all across the map. 7 conversions out of 124. Army count is what? Just under 6% or so? Right? Yeah, just a little bit under 6%. 11 raisings to 1. And then let's take a look at the final kill count. Yeah, MbL just not doing that much damage. I really thought for a second that we were onto something here with the Byzantines on such a small map, because there are other maps in Empire Wars, especially the new ones that have been introduced for the Red Bull Wololo tournament, where the rush distance is quite decent. It's a medium to long rush distance. This is not a medium to long rush distance. This is a very short rush distance. So I figured, you know what, MbL's strategy here is an interesting one to see whether or not it's effective, because he just went full on trash. And when you have a 25% discount, you can pump out a significantly higher number of units than your opponents. At the same time, he mixed in the tower push. Maybe he should have focused on one and not the other. Maybe he should have focused on getting up to castle and castle pushing. Maybe he should have done towers instead of mobile units. Who knows what he should have done? I don't have a 2020 vision. I don't have a magic 8-ball that would have predicted what Hera would have done if MbL had done this different or that different. But in our timeline, in our multiverse, this is exactly how it all panned out. And MbL takes a few bad engagements. His economy is just not there. He is off the back of one town center. He tried to clog up the Mongol with those cheaper Byzantine units. He literally trained the 3 units he has the biggest discounts on, or rather discounts on, period. And ultimately the Mongol quality just defeated the Byzantine discount. And I don't know even who had the biggest army in this game. Yeah, our Byzantine, big surprise, 124 to 93. But when it's a skirmisher and basically pikemen versus fully upgraded steppe lancers, fully upgraded for Castle Age, and fully upgraded Mangudai for Castle Age, your pikemen and skirmishers are not going to last very long. So just a whole bunch of things going wrong for MbL in the mid to late game, whereas the early game, I really liked what he did. I really am curious if he's going to keep trying to perfect this strategy of just overwhelming your opponent with those cheaper Byzantine units. But we'll have to live, we'll have to see, and we'll have to live to see and fight and watch and cast and enjoy another day, because in this particular game, it is Hera who is victorious. But GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.